Hello. The Social Welfare Department. Yes, this is Rachel Corey. Oh,
Hello?
yeah.
Hello?
Well, would you know when that would be? Just a minute.
Hey, can you give me a hand?
Okay, I understand. All right, thanks. Mitch?
Open up.
Okay. Hi. Hey, is that really you underneath all that stuff?
I don't know. Let me get out from behind and I'll let
Oh,
you know.
settle down. I need a hug.
Well, I'll oblige you as soon as I can get rid of this.
How did you possibly make it from the airport with all this stuff?
Carefully.
Well, why didn't you call me? I would have picked you up.
Because I wanted to surprise you.
Well, you did. Give me a hug. Do you know how much I missed you?
Yes, I think so. About as much as I missed you.
How you feeling?
I'm a little nervous, Brian.
Oh, that's to be expected.
Yeah. Look, shouldn't we be leaving for the courthouse soon?
No, we have a little time yet. And I want to talk to you about your testimony today. Now, I'm sure that Colton will design his entire line of questioning toward unnerving our witnesses. Now, I know how sharp Colton can be, but you have to be that much sharper, Jerry. Now, you have to stay cool up there. And remember, it's not only what you say, but how you say it that may have a major effect on our case.
Well, you know that I will try my best.
You can't help her, Jerry, by doing what I say. Blaine's entire future may depend on it. So do it for her.
I know that. And believe me, that is the only reason that I'm going through with this.
The flowers. Where to... The kitchen. Okay, I've got them. Let's go to the hospital already.
Rick, I know how much you and Marianne wanted this baby. But you're so young. You'll have others.
It wasn't just the baby. I mean, we both wanted that very much, of course, but, the child was important for so many reasons.
I know.
Marianne would not have married me if it weren't for the child. I mean, not as quickly. And I guess what I'm asking myself right now is if she hadn't been pregnant, would she have married me at all?
Of course she would have married you. In time?
I don't know, kid. And now that the baby's gone, I wonder if Marianne and I really have a chance to be together.
And now, the continuing story of Another World.
Good morning.
Blaine, I didn't hear you come in.
Oh, I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, I think it's important that you know what to expect today. Sit down.
You know I'm taking a stand this morning.
Yes, Jerry. I know.
That's why I wanted the three of us to talk beforehand so that you'd be aware of what I'm going to try to do in there.
What do you mean?
Well, I think our most important consideration is to establish that a very real threat existed to your life because of your association with Jordan Scott. Now, we have to prove that Scott was prepared to do anything to keep his hold over you, and that the shooting was not a premeditated act, but rather a reaction to a very serious threat to your own safety at that particular moment in time.
I don't know, Brian. Even if we do convince the jury that Jordan would have killed me, do you really think it will help?
Of course it will, Blaine. There's no way anyone could live under those circumstances. I want to show that what happened to Jordan Scott was the result of his own intentions to bring bodily harm to you.
But Brian, Colton has made me out to sound like I am a murderer. I mean, I don't even know if I would believe my own testimony if I were on the jury.
Well, there's no room for doubt now. Now, I told you before this trial started that you have to believe in your innocence, just as Jerry and I do.
Rick, what do you mean? Of course you and Marianne have a chance together.
Kid, I'm a realist. I never lied to myself about this relationship. Marianne was never really in love with me. Not the way you should be in love with someone.
Rick, she does love you.
Yes, she loves me. But not like she was in love with...
You were going to say Jamie, weren't you?
Yes, I was going to say Jamie.
All right. Look, who'd she marry? Now, doesn't that mean something?
She almost didn't marry me.
What?
On our wedding day, she came to me and she said that she wasn't really sure that she was in love with me. Not the way two people should be in love with each other when they're going to get married. But I told her that I had enough love for the both of us. And, well, then there was the baby.
No, don't, please. Don't dwell on that.
I know. I just thought that Marianne was over Jamie.
She is. No, you can't let this affect your future with Marianne.
Kid, I'm not forgetting about what Cecile implied about the baby being Jamie's and not mine.
Can't believe that.
Yes, if you remember, I never did. It's just another fact that...
What fact?
If it weren't for the baby, Marianne and I never would have gotten married. And now that the baby is gone, there is no reason that we should stay together.
That is nonsense. And you know it.
Yes, for me it is. Because I love her very much. But for Marianne, I'm afraid that it is all too true.
So, how was New York?
New York was hot. It was exciting. It was busy, lonely.
Did you get everything that you needed?
I'm having most of it shipped, but I decided to bring back what I could so I could get started.
Is there any need for the rush?
Well, I do want to get moving as fast as I can. I've decided to put in some more time at the connection.
Are we in financial trouble?
No, not yet. But we can use the money.
I wish everything could be different.
What's up?
Oh, the social welfare office just called. They're sending a social worker over to check out this place, see if it's a fit environment for Amanda. It just seems strange to have a total stranger coming over to tell me if I can take care of my daughter or not.
It's no problem. You have a good place to live. You have a good place to work.
I know. I just don't need this right now.
Something's bothering you. What happened?
Well, I saw Mac while you were gone, a couple of times. Brian and I were at Auberge, and he walked in with Alice on his arm. He was having a grand old time. And then the next day I went over to the house to see Amanda, and she was there again, and they had their arms around each other.
Is that all?
Well, yeah, he just gave me some song and dance about Alice being in trouble, and he was just trying to comfort her.
Well, I don't understand why you're letting it bother you.
Well, he's got a detective tailing us, and he can show up around town with any old lady he wants to, and then we can't even see each other?
Anything else?
Well, it just makes me angry, that's all.
You know, I did a lot of thinking about us. And how much I want us to be together, and it just hit me how much time and concern you put in worrying about your family.
Well, I can't help that.
No, I know that. But some of this stuff you got to let go. I mean, parts of your past, especially with Mac.
I know I'm trying. It's just that Mac is the father of Amanda.
Yes, I know that. And I'm here, and I want to help however I can help.
It is a help having you here.
Aren't you going to fix a lunch for yourself?
No, I don't think I'm going to need one today.
You're not on another one of your diets again, are you?
No, but I think I'm going to be having lunch with Cecile today.
Does that mean she pays?
Of course not. I don't expect Cecile to pay for my lunch.
Well, doesn't that get kind of expensive? I mean, eating out is a luxury we can't exactly afford right now.
Well, then we'll just have to find somewhere else to economize on our budget. These lunches are important to me, and I'm learning a lot from Cecile.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't have to spend your lunch hour talking about work.
Why?
Oh, because I wouldn't want to. Lunchtime's for lunch. The last thing I want to do is talk about work.
Yeah, well, that's where you and I are different. My career is very important to me. Oh, by the way, we're invited to a party at Jamie and Cecile's on Wednesday.
Are you sure? I don't exactly move in the same circles as Cecile and Jamie Frame.
Of course you do. Now that we're living together, you're going to be moving in those circles a lot more often.
I've got absolutely nothing in common with those people, Sally.
Well, we all work for Corey Publishers, don't we? Besides, you and Jamie are practically related.
How do you figure that?
Well, Charlie Hobson is your father, right? And he was married to Jamie's grandmother.
So?
Well, Charlie and Ada were married, and that must make you related to Jamie somewhere.
Distantly, maybe, but I think you're stretching it.
Well, it doesn't really matter. Besides, we are going to have a great time at that party. You do want to go, don't you?
That's what you want?
It is. We're going to have a wonderful time. Just you see.
You know what happened to me when I testified. The same thing is going to happen to you. Only I'm afraid it's going to be a whole lot worse.
Why worse?
Just look at it. Hey, if Colton knew everything about my past in Las Vegas, he's going to know everything about yours. Everything. All those little jobs that Ilsa had you doing for her.
Well, it's a chance I'll just have to take, I guess.
Why? You have already told me that people have tried to run you down. So what is it you think you're going to do? You're going to push these people until they finish the job? Ilsa's not going to let you get away with this one. She's not letting you get off scot-free.
I'll be all right, Melissa.
Oh, sure. Right, sure you will. What is it you're planning to do? Sacrifice yourself for Blaine?
If I have to. Yeah, Melissa, it might just end up like that. Look, this is not only for Blaine. I mean, sure, I want to help her. I want to do everything I can for her, but this is for myself, too. I'm tired of running from my past, Melissa. I mean, I've just got to face it and get it all out in the open so I can go on with my life and not worry about who knows about it. I'm tired of lying to the people I care about. For once in my life, Melissa, I'm going to tell the whole truth about everything. And you know what? When it's all over, no matter what happens, I'm going to feel good about myself for the first time in years.
Guess there's no use talking to you about this, huh?
No, there isn't. This is something I should have done for myself a long time ago.
Now, Mr. Grove, would you describe your relationship to the defendant?
I'm her ex-husband and legal counsel.
And have you and Ms. Ewing remained friendly since your divorce?
Yes, I'd say that we were close friends.
Now, Mr. Grove, did Blaine Ewing ever confide in you about her relationship with Jordan Scott?
No, not at first, but later on I became concerned, and I talked to her about it.
What led to your concern?
Well, I had seen Blaine a number of times, and she appeared frightened, almost afraid to even talk to me. Now, on one afternoon in particular, I had gone over to the arena to see her, and she had a black eye.
Oh? And did she tell you how she got it?
She said that she slipped and hit her face.
Did you believe her?
No, I believe that she was covering for Jordan Scott.
Well, why would she do that?
Well, Scott had become suspicious that Blaine and I were seeing each other behind his back.
And were you?
No, not the way that he thought. We were just friends. But Blaine was afraid that if she told me the truth, that I would confront him, and she didn't want to make him any more suspicious.
But Jordan Scott continued to have his suspicions.
Yes, he did. It got so bad that he decided to deal with me directly.
How was that?
He set up a hit-and-run accident in the parking garage of my office building.
No, I object, Your Honor. Mr. Grove's accident is as yet an unsolved hit-and-run. No connection has been made to Jordan Scott.
Only because your office refused to investigate it.
Objection sustained. Mr. Grove, you are out of order. Any further outbursts, you'll be removed from this court and subject to a citation for contempt.
Yes, Your Honor.
Proceed.
Now, Mr. Grove, can you recount the events that eventually led to you and the defendant fleeing Bay City together?
Well, when I heard that the Corey complex had been bombed, I became very angry. I knew that it was another one of Jordan Scott's hits, and too many innocent people had already been hurt by him.
Objection, Your Honor. Mr. Scott's guilt has not yet been established.
Sustained.
Now, what did you do when you received the news?
Well, I went over to his house. I was very angry, not only because of the bombing of the Corey complex, but I was thinking about my mother's accident. That before I knew it, I had pulled a gun on him.
Was that the same gun that had killed Jordan Scott?
Yes, it was.
Now, did you threaten to kill him that night?
Yes, but he just laughed at me and said that I'd never do it.
Then what happened?
Well, Blaine came in and pleaded with me to put the gun down. She told me that Jordan was armed.
And what was Jordan Scott's reaction?
He said that she had betrayed him and that he would take care of her later.
Now, would you describe his tone as threatening?
Yes, I would. So I told Blaine that the only way that I would leave was if she came with me.
And did she go?
Yes, she did. She really didn't have any choice. Now, we went back to my loft, but we received word from Melissa Needham that Jordan had men out looking for us. So we decided to leave Bay City.
I object. Now, the witness is reporting hearsay, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Now, Mr. Grove, will you tell us why you decided to take Blaine Ewing out of Bay City?
Because I believed then, as I believe now, had she remained in Bay City, Jordan Scott would have had her killed.
Connection. Can I help you?
I'd like to speak with Jason Dunlap, please.
Speaking.
Oh, Jason, darling, this is Ilsa. Ilsa Fredericks. Oh, don't tell me you don't remember me.
Of course I remember you, Ilsa. What can I do for you?
Well, it seems one of my lost sheep may have strayed into Bay City.
Who are you looking for?
His name is Sandy Alexander, darling. You do know who I mean.
Yeah, I don't know much about him, though. I'd heard that he was in town, but I think he split.
Are you sure?
Well, like I said, I heard that he left Bay City.
What a shame. Well, if you do see him, please do give me a call. I'm very anxious to get a hold of him.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, by the way, how is our Melissa?
She's fine.
You do remember that she's only on loan. I may have to call her back to the fold pretty soon now, too.
But right now, Ilsa, we need her here very much.
Oh, don't worry, darling. She can stay a little while longer yet. But keep in mind that she's not a permanent piece of Bay City.
I know that, Ilsa.
Good. And if you do hear anything from Sandy, I would like you please to...
I will call you.
Oh, you are a very special man, darling. Do you know that? Goodbye, Jason. For now.
Goodbye, Ilsa.
Brought a friend.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. You look beautiful.
Thanks. Oh, Rick, you're gorgeous. Thank you. You all right?
That's my line.
How you feeling, Marianne?
Much better, thanks.
Okay, would you do me a favor? Could you go down to the gift shop
And get some magazines?
Sure. See you later.
Okay, Dr. Holloway, what's wrong?
Nothing's wrong. I'm worried about you.
I think you're a little bit more worried about us now that I've lost the baby.
Well, I don't think we should talk about that right now, do you?
Rick, I don't know what you want, but I do know what I want. I made a commitment to you on the 19th of May, remember? I vowed to be your wife in both the good and bad times.
What about the baby?
It's true, the baby did make us decide to get married a little sooner than we might have.
Sooner? I thought the baby was the only reason we got married in the first place,
The
Marianne.
baby is gone, Rick. But that doesn't mean that I've given up on our marriage. Any more than I've given up on the idea of having another baby someday.
Yeah, well, what...
I love
what about...
you, Rick. I love you. And I need you now. More than I've ever needed anybody before. And I need to know that you love me, too.
Thank you. I love you so much.
Now, could you tell the court, Mr. Grove, what happened while you and Blaine Ewing were on the run from Jordan Scott?
Well, Blaine and I didn't know where to go first. We didn't know where we'd be safe. So I decided to go to Gainesville, Florida, because I had spent some time there last winter. But on the trip, I had become ill, and I was running a high fever when the Georgia police pulled us over for speeding. They took us into custody because I was carrying a gun.
Did they detain you?
Well, only long enough to check the registration, and then we continued on our trip. But by the time that we arrived in Gainesville, I had become very ill again. And Blaine called back to Bay City to have an antibiotic sent down.
Now, how was this medication sent?
Well, it was delivered by Sandy Alexander. But when Blaine went to the airport to pick Sandy up, one of Jordan's men found me in the hotel room. Now, he held me at gunpoint until Blaine came back. Luckily, Sandy was able to help us escape.
Then what happened?
Well, the three of us took off for New York, and we hid out in Brooklyn. But it wasn't long after that before Ken Steele and Eddie found us.
How did they find you?
Well, I'm not really sure, but one afternoon we went back to the hotel room, and they were waiting for us. Now, luckily, Sandy noticed that the door had been opened, so we ran out into the street, and they chased after us.
Did you, at any point, know exactly what this Ken Steele and Eddie had in mind for you?
Yes, they were trying to kill us. Now, they had their guns drawn, and they were firing at us as we tried to make our escape. We managed to elude them, and we hid out in another rundown hotel. Shortly after that, Jordan Scott and his men captured Sandy.
Oh, then Jordan Scott had come to New York.
Yes, I guess he didn't want to risk any more slip-ups. But by that time, I had become very ill again, and Sandy was getting me medication on a daily basis. Now, apparently, Jordan Scott and his men staked out the pharmacy. But before they captured Sandy, he was able to warn us to move to another hotel. We became very worried when he didn't show up after a long time. And I guess I must have fallen asleep then. When I woke up, Blaine was gone. And there were 2 New York policemen ready to take me into protective custody.
And what conclusion did you draw from this whole experience?
I knew without any doubt that Jordan Scott and his men were trying to kill all 3 of us.
Now, I object, Your Honor. Mr. Grove has absolutely no way of proving that this Mr. Steele and this Eddie were, in fact, in Jordan Scott's employ.
Your Honor, in future testimony, the defense will prove that these men were indeed employed by Jordan Scott.
Mr. Colton, your objection is overruled until that time. Please continue, Mr. Bancroft.
I have no further questions, Your Honor. Your witness, Mr. Colton.
Want some coffee?
No, thanks, Ada.
What's the matter?
Everything's the matter.
Well, that narrows it down.
Well, I guess what I'm mostly worried about is Blaine. I just came from the trial. That trial's a nightmare for her. And Larry can't stop thinking about it either. He's so afraid that his testimony might have hurt her.
Well, Larry wouldn't do anything to hurt his own sister.
No, Ada, of course not. But Zachary Colton twists the words all around. He makes it seem like Larry doesn't trust Blaine.
Yeah, well, I know Colton. Poor Larry.
And now I have to testify for Blaine tomorrow. I mean, what if Colton does that to me on the stand? I mean, what if I say something that's going to hurt Blaine?
Now, Brian won't let that happen.
I'm real nervous about it, Ada, but I know that that's nothing compared to what Blaine must be feeling. I don't think she can get through this.
Don't worry about Blaine. She's stronger than you think she is. She's a born survivor.
But the strain on her has been just awful. Now I got this thing with Denny. Oh, Ada, my brother Denny's moving to Bay City tomorrow.
So, how are you?
I'm fine. Physically, at least.
Still seem a little down.
Alice, I've already had an abortion a few years ago. And now a miscarriage. What if I can't have any more children?
Marianne, don't think like that. It's just your mood anyway. There's absolutely no medical evidence to support your fears. And that's all they are, honey. Just fears.
But what if I can't?
Have you talked to Rick about the way you feel?
Yeah. He says he wants to have children, too, but if we don't, if I can't, he says it won't affect our relationship.
You know, when I found out that I would never be able to have children, I became very bitter for a very long time. I let that bitterness ruin what Stephen and I had together. Honey, your marriage is the most important thing in the world. Don't let what happened to me happen to you.
I don't want it to.
One day, Marianne, if you should have a baby, look on it as a blessing. But if you don't, just remember that your marriage can still be very special.
Oh, Alice, I want it to be. More than anything in the world, I want Rick and I to be happy together.
Mr. Grove, there's still one thing that puzzles me. What happened to the gun after the Georgia State Police returned it to you?
Well, I kept it with me until Sandy joined us, and then he carried it.
Why was that?
Well, I still wasn't feeling very well, and Sandy had more or less taken charge.
Yes. Now, you were ill, you say, Mr. Grove. You were very ill?
Yes.
Was the gun in your possession when the New York police took you into protective custody?
No.
How would you describe the exact nature of your illness at this point?
I was running a high fever due to an infection. I had had surgery not long before, and I developed a post-operative infection.
Now, you say you had a high fever, a very high fever?
Yes.
At what point in your flight did you become ill, Mr. Grove?
You'll answer the question, Mr. Grove.
From the time that the police picked us up in Georgia.
Were you delirious at all?
Sometimes.
Sometimes, I see. So then it is possible that some of the events which took place at this time must have seemed confusing for you, rather hazy, yes?
I know what happened.
And that perhaps you lost track of the gun, or that you had it, or Miss Ewing had
No,
taken
that's
the gun
not
from
what happened.
And perhaps these mysterious men who tried to capture and kill the two of you, as you put it, were not Mr. Steele and his friend Eddie.
Look, I'm telling you, it was Ken Steele and Eddie that tried to kill us.
Well, now, you seem rather sure of yourself for a man who has just testified that he was delirious most of the time.
Objection, Your Honor.
Some of the time. Mr. Grove, just one more thing. When you returned to Bay City, what happened to you?
Oh, I don't understand.
Well, I mean by that, were there any further threats made on your life? Did anybody try to kill you, Mr. Grove?
No, but...
All right, thank you. That's it. No more questions.
Hey, babe.
Hey.
Where you been? I've been worried about you.
I went over to see Sandy.
Oh. Why'd you have to see him?
Because I wanted to try to convince him not to take the stand. You saw what happened to me when I had to testify. Just everything about my whole past came out. Well, anyway, if he takes the stand, the same thing's going to happen to him. Ilsa's going to find out. He's going to be in such trouble, Jason.
You got that right.
Oh, why? Did something happen? I mean, did somebody say something about Sandy?
Ilsa called me. She wanted to know where Sandy was, how she could reach him.
What did you say?
I told her that he'd left town. And he did, right? So I wasn't lying.
You didn't say that he came back?
Must have slipped my mind.
Oh, Jason. Oh, thank you. Oh. Did she say anything?
Did Denny get that job at the DA's office?
No, he got a job with something called the Black Hawk Project.
Well, what's that? I never heard of it.
Well, I didn't either, and Denny's not even sure what they do, but they offered him a lot of money.
How does Leigh feel about that?
Well, everything's been going on so much that I didn't even have a chance to tell him.
But he's not too happy about it.
Well, I know, and I don't understand that. I mean, Denny is trying to change, and Leigh won't even give him a chance to prove it.
Leigh's a lot like Charlie, you know? He's got good instincts about people. And he's known Denny a lot longer and a lot better than the rest of us, including you.
Ada, I know that Denny was, too hard on Leigh when he was a kid.
Well, not just as a kid.
Well, but Denny admits that. He's working to change his whole attitude. Don't you think we should give him the benefit of the doubt?
Well, yeah, I guess so. Where's he staying?
Well, he's going to be staying with us, and that's fine right now. We have plenty of room for Blaine and Denny, but I got a call this morning. The realtor found someone who made an offer for the house.
Well, that's what you want, isn't it?
Well, yes, that's what I want, but, I don't have any happy memories at that house, but... Well, we got to find an apartment so fast. And what about Blaine and Denny?
Well, they'll just have to find a place of their own. Now, look, you and Larry have to get your marriage back together.
Well, I know. I mean, everything's been so crazy since Larry moved back home.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. Now, you and Larry need time to get things together again. I mean, you had a wonderful marriage, and you can have one again. But you have to work at it, Clarice, and together.
Mr. Bancroft, would you like to redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. Now, Mr. Grove, what happened on your return to Bay City?
Well, apparently Blaine had made some kind of a deal with Jordan Scott to ensure, well, not only my safety, but the safety of Sandy Alexander also.
Well, what sort of a deal?
Well, I am not really sure. But it seems that she agreed to do whatever Jordan wanted in return for our lives.
Oh, objection. Mr. Grove is basing his testimony on speculation, not on fact.
Sustained.
Now, Jerry, you said that the three of you were, in reality, still under Jordan Scott's thumb, so to speak. Was there any way out?
Yes, we knew that Jordan Scott kept a black book in which he detailed all of his activities. We felt if we could only get our hands on that, we'd be able to use it against him.
Did you know about Blaine's attempt to find the book the night of the shooting?
Yes, I did.
Now, what would have happened, do you think, if Scott had caught Blaine with the book?
He would have killed her.
I object, Your Honor. The witness is making an assumption based on nothing more than Mr. Bancroft's conjecture.
Objection sustained.
Thank you, Mr. Grove. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
So how was your trip?
It was more expensive than I'd planned.
Well, the Big Apple means big bucks.
It also means I could use some more hours at the connection. It's just that I need the cash, at least until the gallery gets going.
Oh, sure, Mitch. I can always use you here. As a matter of fact, I was talking to Jess Cooper the other day, and I told him how terrific it was to have you back with me.
Cooper?
Yeah. And he likes to keep a close watch on the place.
Yeah, I bet he does. So what do you think? Some extra hours?
Yeah, it's my pleasure. But my guess is that you'll be here a lot longer than you think.
And how do you figure that?
Just common sense. Be serious, Mitch. The chances of an art gallery making it are pretty slim.
You know what I've always liked about you is that you're an optimist.
Oh, come on, man. Admit it. You've always been a lot more comfortable behind a bar.
Wrong again.
Yeah.
Look, I'll tell you what. I'll serve those words to you on a silver platter one day, all right?
Yeah. I hope so, buddy.
Hello, this is Randy down at the Connection. I think I have something. Not only is Blake working here, but he just increased his hours. Sure, no sweat. Glad to help.
Hey, the place is starting to look good.
Yeah, Sally gets a kick out of fixing it up.
Oh, does she spend a lot of time here?
You could say that. Sally's moved in with me.
Oh. How's Alice taking it?
We haven't exactly heard from her mother yet.
Are you sure you're doing the right thing?
Yes, I am, Clarice. I mean, we both work for Corey Publishing. We share all the expenses. Besides, it's nice having someone around. It's lonely all by yourself.
I know. Are you thinking of marrying Sally?
It might be nice.
Well, honey, just think about it really carefully. It's a great big commitment. You've got a lot of time. You're both real young.
Well, you're not a Hobson for nothing. If I didn't see you standing here in front of me, I swear it was Denny talking.
Oh, you think he'd tell you the same thing?
Yeah, exactly. But he won't get a chance. Not if I don't get a phone.
You might not need a phone.
What does that mean?
Denny's coming to Bay City tomorrow. He's got a job and he's going to live here.
Oh, no.
Leigh, he's your brother, and you promised to give him another chance. You won't go back on your word, will you?
No, Clarice, I won't. Not if he keeps his part of the bargain, I won't.
Well, that's fair enough. Could you do me a favor tomorrow?
Yeah, sure. What is it?
Well, I have to be at testify for Blaine. Could you pick Denny up at the airport?
Hello?
Hi, Sandy. It's me. It's Melissa.
Hey, babe, what's up?
Well, I just wanted to let you know that Ilsa called Jason, and they were talking about you.
Ilsa? What did Jason tell her?
Told her you left Bay City. Now, do you understand why it's so important for you not to testify? As soon as she finds out, she's going to have her goons down here looking for you in no time. That's, of course, if she doesn't have them here already. Please, just think about it. See if there's any way that you can just get out of testifying.
Look, I don't want to get out of testifying. I've been chased before, Melissa. And no one was a bigger threat than Jordan Scott and his men. This time, I think I've got something pretty strong on my side.
What?
If I have to, I'm going to use Ilsa's book.
Oh, no. Did you just go off the deep end? Is that what you've done this time, finally? You know what that's going to do. You know what that means. And just think about how Matt Corey's going to feel when he finds out the truth about your past.
Melissa, I've told you before, I've made up my mind. I've got to do this for Blaine and for myself.
Oh, it's been a long day.
Yes, yes.
But I think we accomplished a lot.
How can you say that, Brian?
Well, because it's true.
Now, what good did my testifying do? Now, with all the questions Colton asked me about the fever, it made it sound like I was delirious the whole time.
No, Jerry, really, it helped a lot.
Both Blaine and Sandy's testimony will substantiate everything you said.
Brian, I'm afraid I have the same problem as Jerry. I don't think anybody's going to believe me, not after everything Colton implied about me during the trial.
I don't believe that, Blaine. But if it's true, our last hope lies with Sandy.
I wonder how we'll stand up against Colton.
Oh, I wouldn't worry about Sandy, Jerry. I'd like to see Zachary Colton try to discredit Sandy's testimony.
Hi.
Can I help you?
Yeah, I sure hope so. A while ago, I had a book put on microfiche. Here's the number. Now, I'm wondering if it'd be possible to have that put on some kind of paper so it can be read without a microfiche reader.
Sure.
Well, how long would that take?
It depends. Not too long.
Can I wait for it?
Sure, no problem.
Great. Listen, make me 2 copies, would you?
2 copies, you got it.
Join us each weekday at this time for the continuing story of Another World.